This is the Ford Ranger XLT 4x2. It is one of the more affordable variants of the Ranger. It sells for $1.2 million for the automatic and $1.17 for the manual. The XLT is priced just a little bit higher than the base model XLS, and it's almost the same price as the XLS Sport 4x4. Is it worth the price? Let's find out. I reviewed the XLS Sport 4x4 a couple of weeks ago. If you haven't seen it yet, click on the link above. In this video, I'll be talking about the XLT, also the differences between the XLT, the XLS, and the XLS Sport. There are a lot of visual differences between the models, but there are also differences that are more than skin deep. This XLT model right here is a manual variant, but the XLT manual and the XLT automatic are basically the same except for the transmission. I think the best looking of the three is the XLS Sport, mostly because of the black 17-inch wheels and the more aggressive tires. The XLS Sport also is a 4x4 model. The XLT is only 4x2. The most obvious difference here at the front is the chrome grille on the XLT. The grille of the XLS is painted in silver, while the one on the XLS Sport is painted in gloss black. The XLT has projector headlamps, which are much brighter than the halogens of the XLS and the XLS Sport. The headlamps of the XLT are also automatic. The XLT has a lot more chrome. It has chrome door handles. A chrome rear bumper. Chrome badging on the sides. It has chrome side mirrors with turn indicators. The XLT has 17-inch wheels painted in silver. The XLS has 16s, and the XLS Sport has 17s painted in black. They're all wrapped in 265 and 65 series tires. I think the Ford Ranger is one of the most handsome looking trucks that you can buy, and that goes for all its variants, even the most affordable ones. The interior of the XLS and the XLT look pretty similar, with a few minor differences. This is the interior of the XLT. The XLT has a leather-covered steering wheel. Over here you have controls for your infotainment screen and also your cruise control. And then you have your controls for your hands-free operation. One important difference between the XLT and the XLS is that the XLT has electronic steering, which means that the steering wheel is a little bit easier to turn. The XLT also has these chrome trims on the air vents, and also the XLT has this glossy accent over here on the dashboard. Everything is made of bare plastic, but it doesn't really feel cheap. It feels thick, it feels solid. Over here you have single zone climate control. This one controls your fan speed, your temperature. I like the fact that it has knobs instead of buttons. Over here is it's a 3.2-inch TFT display. One advantage of the Hilux G is that it has a 6.5-inch display. In comparison, this one is pretty tiny.
The XLT also has automatic headlamps. You can set it so that it will automatically turn on when it gets dark. The car has a 6-speed manual. The XLT automatic and the XLT manual are basically the same except for the transmission. The shift into reverse, you pull on this and then you put it in this position. Over here you have a USB port, and over here you have a 12-volt outlet. You have an aux jack over there, some storage over here for your phone. You have 2 cup holders. The armrest is bare plastic, disappointingly. The seats are fabric, but the quality is pretty good. The door armrests are covered in leather and they're padded. And everything else is made of plastic. The vehicle also has automatic wipers. You have handlebars over here for easier entry. The vehicle has powerful side mirrors. Oh yeah, the XLT also has what do you call this? An old school keyhole for your ignition, which I don't really mind. In terms of features, I think the XLT wins over the Hilux. The only advantage of the Hilux is that it has a bigger infotainment screen, but you can change the infotainment screen later on. What you can change are the engine. The XLT has a more powerful engine. You can't change the steering system. You can't add cruise control. You cannot change the suspension without voiding the warranty. Here at the back you got a 12-volt outlet and a foldable armrest with 2 cup holders. It is a bit more spacious than the Hilux. The Hilux does not have a 12-volt outlet here at the back. You have decent legroom and also decent headroom.
The Ranger XLT and the XLS are powered by a 2.2-liter diesel engine, which produces 158 horsepower and 385 Newton meters of torque. The figures are a bit lower than the competition, but I have personal experience with this engine and transmission because I owned a pre-facelift Ranger XLT with the same 2.2-liter engine, and it produced more than enough power. It was also pretty reliable. The 6-speed manual is also pretty good. If I remember correctly, at around 100 kph, my RPM at 6th gear would be less than 1500, maybe even as low as 1200, so it's pretty fuel efficient on the highway. The XLS, the XLS Sport, and the XLT are priced very competitively, especially the XLS Sport. It is one of the cheapest 4x4 trucks in the market, and it looks pretty good. The XLT is a good middle ground between the base model XLS and the top of the line Wildtrak. You'll get a lot more toys if you go for the Wildtrak, like a better infotainment system, more active safety features like lane keep assist, blind spot monitoring, adaptive cruise control, and also a more powerful engine. The price gap between the Wildtrak and the XLT is pretty wide, but if you can bridge that gap, you'll get a lot more truck for your money. Compared to the Hilux, the XLT has better ride quality. It has a more powerful engine. It has electronic steering. The infotainment of the Hilux though is better, and I think the interior of the Hilux also looks a little bit better. The Hilux is more expensive, but not by much. It's only more expensive by 40,000 pesos. If the choice is between the Ranger Wildtrak and the Toyota Hilux Conquest, I definitely recommend the Ranger, because the Ranger offers a lot more features at a lower price. But at this price range, I think it's a toss-up between the two. The Hilux G is more expensive by 40k, which is almost nothing. It has a few drawbacks, but the Toyota badge is worth at least something. The Hilux has a better infotainment system, but you can change the infotainment screen of the Hilux later on. What you can change are the engine, you can't change the steering system, you can't change the suspension, at least without voiding the warranty. So I'd say buy the Hilux G if you like how it looks, if you like the interior, or if you absolutely must have a Toyota vehicle. But don't buy it because of the infotainment screen, because that can be changed later on. Anyway, at this price, I think neither vehicle is a bad choice.